I'm one of the core members of the Stop the Drilling in Southfield, and I'm very pleased that we have a full house tonight. I'm vehemently opposed to drilling at Word of Faith because Word of Faith's property is zoned residential. To allow them to drill undermines local government and our self-rule. But more importantly, the bigger picture for me is that Jordan Development is positioning themselves to turn the area between 9 Mile and 10 Mile into an industrial area. They not only have a lease with Word of Faith and they applied for a permit, they also have entered into leases with 2 properties on Evergreen Road. So it'll be a full industrial area if they're allowed to drill. I have a comment about, I have a question about Jordan Development and Beckman Production Services. I filed FOIAs to find out their track record. I filed it for a 10-year period. Unfortunately, you don't have a database that's able to allow me to search for 10 years. So when I got the FOIA back, it indicated that there are hazardous substances that have been located that are undergoing active soil and groundwater evaluation and remedial response. One of them is from a Jordan Development site in Antrim County. The second one is by Beckman Production Services, and this site is in Clare County. People and industrial work do not go together.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Minion, and I am a member of Word of Faith. I've been a Word of Faith member for over 20-something years. And of course, a productive citizen of not just the United States, but of course the state of Michigan. It's one of the most beautiful states in the country. And I want to make a comment in support of the drilling. You know, we live with risk every single day. And here, well, let me finish. We deal with risk every single day. And, you know, you take NASA, for example, over half of a century, there's been, you know, lives interrupted as a result of explosions and things like that, and exploratory projects and things like that. You know, again, yet we pursue those kinds of things for the purpose of proving our highest potential as humanity. And in that same way, you know, the church, the body of Christ is in the business of helping people, loving people, growing people, bringing families together, keeping families together. You know, I've been in a number of situations, having been a part of that ministry, where I've had the opportunity to impact lives and make a difference in people's lives and save somebody from killing themselves, and you know, talking folks out of, you know, making a different or a better decision concerning their lives and their family. And anything that's going to promote that, anything that's going to support that and make a difference in our society and impact on our world is worth exploring. It's worth making the investment. And like I said, you know, this is coming from a more, you know, emotional, practical standpoint, but, you know, we deal with risk every day. Even with the Flint situation, it's the technology, the infrastructure, very antiquated, you know, not a lot of oversight. So that in my opinion, we're comparing apples with oranges, 2 different separate situations that can't quite be used to make an argument opposing drilling. So, thank you.
Rose and I have lived in Southfield for about 376 years. I want to begin by saying that I did reach out to Word of Faith to come and speak with us on my show, and never heard from them. I'm reminded of a song from a Broadway show, which I'm going to change for purposes of this meeting. Whatever Butter wants, Butter gets, but not this time. We've made up our mind, we are no fools. It's been 2 months now since many of us spoke to our city council regarding Word of Faith's partnership with Jordan Oil Drilling to explore the possibility of oil or gas on their property. Seems that the DEQ, which has been so remiss regarding the Flint River horror, is of the opinion that our city has no choice in this matter. We beg to differ. This is Southfield, a town rich in history and community. We have rules about industrial endeavors being too close to vibrant communities. We have no intention of allowing a church, no matter how powerful this church thinks it is, to earn funds by destroying the safety and well-being of our citizens. We are not going to listen to their argument about their project being on their private property. What they wish to do will impact on us, especially those who use wells for their water. Their project will bring property values down. Their project sits dangerously close to the Rouge River. If anything toxic slips into our water supply, Word of Faith becomes a murderer. Does DEQ want to join them? I hope not.
And I guess my argument is just, I live here. You know, Word of Faith, 15-20% of Word of Faith members live here. DEQ doesn't live here. Maybe one of you does. Jordan Development certainly doesn't live here. The people who come in to drill the well, they're going to come in from outside. And the 2 jobs that remain, I doubt those people will live in Southfield. My main concerns are the ones you've already heard regarding safety. Drilling in a residential area, what can happen? You know, well, you could get an acid spill. You could get an oil spill. You could get a brine spill. You could contaminate wells, potentially. Is the Southfield Fire Department able to deal with a wellhead fire or explosion? I know these are remote possibilities, but when a well is in a remote area, you don't have to worry about that stuff. This is right here. My other concerns are environmental. Because there's a wetland area right there, because there's a Rouge tributary right there, you're putting some land at risk. And you're going to have to cut down 1.5 to 2 acres of trees just to do the exploratory. That's a heavy price. Those are mature trees. I got a thing about methane. The oil and gas industry produces the most methane of any other source, including cattle farming. And methane is a really potent greenhouse gas. I don't want to smell it when I walk my dog in those woods. I don't want to be around it. I don't want my neighbors to be poisoned by it. And my third concern is just aesthetic. You know, I love my neighborhood because it's treed, there are woods around. Southfield has done a great job providing green spaces for us. There's a bike path that runs on 2 sides of the drilling site. I don't want to listen to the noise of drilling. I don't want to see the flare. You know, to me that would not be like a vigil light. That would be an irritation, visual and practical pollution. You're talking about a dense upland woods that will fill this project from view. This is winter. Those are all deciduous trees, folks. The leaves are gone. You can see right through that stretch of trees. You're not going to hide anything there. I'm not going to hammer on DEQ. You guys are in a different department. I'm just hearing a little of the same sort of legalistic approach to a question that I heard from the guys in Flint. We go by the rules. We go by the rules. They went by the rules too. Sometimes you got to think outside the box. Anyway, I would just ask you please to consider, those of us who live here, this matters to me. It matters to our community.
Homebrook, which is I totally support solar on our property. And it should be treated just about like anything else in the city. When I had to get a permit to get a roof or something, as long as I met the criteria, the permit was granted. And I haven't had one thing from DQ, the Department of Quality, that was telling me these points that you brought out tonight. The first meeting talked about all fracking, talked about it being partisan. There was nothing good. You know, the glass was totally half empty. Tonight, at least people got an opportunity to hear the other side, and I appreciate that. I do not feel that my representatives are representing my voice. I pay my dues too. And my voice, I called our association to let them know how I felt. The lady said, well, ma'am, I'm sorry, but your one voice doesn't make a difference. But yet, I've been getting, almost on a daily basis, stop the drilling, come out and petition. Haven't gotten one thing about the good stuff. So I feel I should be heard too. I feel like David with Goliath. And y'all coming down. We're going to get that permit. We're going to get the permit. And I'm talking as a resident too. Keep that in mind. I'm walking through what the lady just said. You can see through the trees. You know why? Half of them dead. I walked across them to take a shortcut to the church. Half of them are dead. But I don't feel that my voice has really been heard. If Word of Faith has met the requirements for the permit should be granted with no further delays.
All right. Okay, I don't know where y'all at without this speak. First of all, I want to say that I'm extremely proud to be a member of the Southfield community. My representatives up on the stage were awesome in speaking their opinion. And the people, you came out and not only have you spoke your mind, but you were very well prepared, unlike myself. I'm second generation family in Southfield. Our dad bought back in the 80s, and I took over his house. But I've been extremely proud to be a member of this community. My wife and I have really enjoyed this community. I understand that Word of Faith is a church and that they want to do the Lord's work. But do they pay taxes? I mean, I'm not the smartest one in the room, but we are talking about tax-paying residents, right? I'm not mad at the Lord, and I'm not mad at the Word of Faith. And they want us to stay on point. And I know you good people have a decision to make. But keep in mind that the people who pay the bills in Southfield don't want it. And they want to hold on to what I've enjoyed for the last 25 years. The people, the love, the hugs, the smiles. People walk their dogs and wave at each other in Southfield. You're not going to do that around the world. You know, and that's all I got to say. And like I said, I'm probably not the best speaker, but I really want to know who pays the bills.
Good evening. My name is Skip Davis. I'm a resident of Southfield, and I'm a member of a Citizens Alliance called Stop the Drilling in Southfield. I read something recently. Gandhi said that the fourth deadly sin is commerce without morality. Commerce without morality. And I see a situation here where we have Keith Butler and some of his congregation. He's fleeced the flock. Convincing them.
You guys need to be respectful now. We didn't agree with what your member said. Don't disrespect our coalition head right here. Sit down and wait until it's your turn. Sign up, but don't interrupt Skip. Now sit down, be Christ-like, and let the man speak.
Let's hear from Mr. Davis.
excuse me if my remark excuse me if my remark upset you, but I'm upset. I'm upset too, and I'm upset with Keith Butler and some of the Word of Faith congregation. They've been fed information that drilling in a residential neighborhood, number one, will not harm the environment. Number one, will not affect the safety and well-being of the neighbors who are within a few hundred yards of the drill site. And they've assured us that it's going to be a blessing to the congregation and a contribution to the community. I have no idea how this can be a contribution to the community. It's drilling for dollars. It's drilling for dollars. And their partner in drilling is Jordan Development, who has a history of drilling everywhere, anywhere, all the time, anytime. As long as they fill in the blanks, as long as they fill in the fields in the 13-page permit application. So if you check all the right boxes, put in all the right numbers, fill in all the right fields, and submit your report, it's a rubber stamp deal. The third party in this conversation is the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, who has a history of rubber stamping, not even reviewing permits. I thought they were in the business of protecting us. I thought they were in the business of protecting our land, water, and air. I thought they were in the business of enhancing the quality of our community. But what I've been very naive, because what I now know is that the DEQ is a profit center. They create and generate funds for the state of Michigan. They generate revenue from selling permits, and they generate revenue from the sweet royalties that are derived from the sale of gas and oil. So it's a revenue stream for the state. So even with all that in mind, the drilling for dollars on the part of Word of Faith, the drilling for dollars on the part of Jordan Development, the drilling for dollars on the part of the DEQ, I'm cynical, but I'm also optimistic. I'm hoping that the Department of Environmental Quality does the right thing and looks beyond the application and looks at the damage and the impact that it's having on our community. Our community is divided. Our community is divided over this issue. This is a community that embraces harmony and love, and this issue has torn us apart. It has us yelling and screaming at each other. I would expect that the church would want to be welcomed in this community. I expect that they would want to be embraced and included in who we are. But instead, they're not welcome in my mind. They're visitors here, and they're not welcome. So I beg you to deny the permit. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Mandel Burton, and I'm here to talk about the permit. One of the things I wanted to cover was that there has been much talk about trees that will be displaced. However, most of the trees in the proposed area for the oil well are dead already. For those that are not, they will be replaced with fully grown mature trees. Also, the royalties from the Oil and Gas Development Fund, both Michigan State Parks through the State Parks Endowment Fund and local community recreation projects through the Natural Resources Trust Fund. Since the inspection of these programs, Oakland County has received over $70 million in oil and gas royalties for various projects, including development and restoration in Copperton Lake Park, the Valley Woods Trail, and the Evergreen Woods Park, all located in Southfield, Michigan. So I understand that these things are already in place and that Oakland County has received $70 million already. So what you're all doing is something that's already existing. And one of the things that I know that I have a question about is that since these things are already existing and we're trying to have it done on Word of Faith, it's already approved through the county, so it's not like we're doing something that's not being done everywhere else here in Oakland County. And being a part of Word of Faith, I personally don't know anyone by name. I've been going there since 2001, but I moved to Jackson, so I try to come to Word of Faith as much as I can. I commuted down here today, but I came down here because of my faith and my respect I have for Bishop Butler and Pastor Deborah and the Word of Faith family, because